If you want to compete online in today's marketplace, you're going to have to get your schedule rates up, okay? We're going to talk today about how to improve your lead to booking ratio. A lot of clinics are having a hard time, even more of a hard time nowadays. They get a lot of leads, but they're having a hard time getting them on the phone and getting them to actually commit to that initial appointment. So we're going to walk through, again, handful of different ways to improve your schedule rates today, okay? If you're new to the channel, welcome in. All we do on this channel is talk about how to hit $200,000 a month inside of your brick and mortar healthcare facility. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. We got another banger for you today. And by no means, to be clear, do we believe that you're going to watch one video and reach $200,000 a month, okay? That's not the point of this channel. The point is we have helped clinics reach those milestones with our marketing and advertising strategies. And therefore, when a clinic reaches $200,000 a month or more, we can then take the lessons of what we learned in working with these businesses and bring them back to you here so that you can apply them to your business to hopefully reach maybe someday $200,000 a month, and at absolute minimum, at least hit record months inside of your practice. So welcome in. So here's the reality of scheduling leads online right now. You see, most clinics are operating as if their leads are mutually exclusive. That means that they believe that when a lead comes in, they get the lead, they'll make one call, the lead will answer, they'll book them on their calendar, okay? That is the optimal scenario. The reality is that that very rarely occurs nowadays because leads are comparison shopping now more than ever. See, these advertising platforms, when you opt in for a particular solution, the advertising platform will then show you an abundance more of similar competitive solutions. So we have to first operate with the idea that the leads are not mutually exclusive, and we must have a very direct outreach process to force them to get to know us and choose our practice. So right now we're going to walk through 6 different ways, 6 elements, if you will, that contribute to improving your schedule rates. Starting with the first, okay? You guys have all heard this one many different times, okay? The basic speed to lead. Okay, speed to lead matters now more than ever, okay? Because like I said earlier, the advertising platforms are showing a lot of competitive offers when a consumer signs up for a particular solution. So what's happening is that when you get the lead, more than likely that lead has signed up for, 1, 2, 3, maybe even 4 other solutions, okay? These are competing businesses to you, all right? So the 5-minute rule, okay? The 5-minute rule is massively important when it comes to lead management, all right? So what we need to have in place is not only a series of automations that make sure that the lead actually receives contact as soon as they take the action. We need somebody actually reaching out to that individual quite literally as quickly as humanly possible. And so at the stage when somebody opts in, the leads are in research mode, okay? So at this stage, again, they are in research mode. Okay, that means that most leads are unsure of what action they're about to take. They're not 100% sure what business they're going to work with. They're not 100% sure like if they're going to actually show up to this clinic. Do they really want this, okay? So they're in research mode. Okay, so most of you guys watching, you guys make the mistake in believing that when you get a lead, they're like ready to buy your program right away. They're ready to come in and commit to care, no questions asked, let's go. That's fantasy stuff, guys. That's not how it actually works anymore. These guys are in research mode. So what we need to do is we need to follow up with them extremely quickly so that we can help them with their due diligence. Okay, that's extremely important. When you get a lead, when they decide, hey, I am actually going to express interest in this particular business, that is when that individual is the most receptive to business communication from that organization, okay? They want information from you. They want their questions answered, and by having quick speed to lead, you can answer their questions quickly, and that's what people want nowadays. Remember, whether you like it or not, your indirect competitor is Amazon. You might be like, well, that's not a competitor of mine. What are you talking about? Yes, it is. Because the mindset of how Amazon works, where you click one button, it's at your house in 2 days, that immediate gratification, that's how leads work in today's marketplace. So speed to lead has never been more important than it is right now. Now the next element, extremely important, okay, not only speed to lead, but volume of outreach. Okay, volume of outreach is just quite literally the number of attempts you make, okay? So if you call a lead one time, okay, if you get Sally, she comes in as a lead, you call her one time, and you leave a voicemail and you're like, hey Sally, this is Jeff calling from ABC Clinic, just wanted to call about your appointment. Give me a call back to confirm your appointment. Call us back at this number. These are detrimental errors to businesses. Businesses are losing millions of dollars a day off language that says, call me back at this number. Call us here during the hours of 9 to 5, Monday through Thursday. If you're doing that right now or your team's doing that, you're losing money, okay? Volume of outreach says that we have full ownership of our communication with the leads. And we're not gonna put the ball in the lead's court. We are gonna own that communication. And what that means is that we are gonna be proactively reaching out to these people quite literally every day. Sometimes multiple times a day. I'll tell you this, I was thinking about getting my house cleaned, okay? I was like, man, we need to get some cleaners to come up in here so I don't have to do as much stuff on the weekends and that kind of stuff, okay? So I signed up for a company that was basically like a corporate-wide company, national company, excuse me. And what they do is they would basically assign you a cleaner and they would come into your house and they would clean based on the number of hours you need per week, okay? I signed up through an ad expressing interest in this company. This is like probably 6 weeks ago at this point. They have called me every day with different phone numbers, with different representatives. They've texted, they've emailed, they've given me different offers throughout those days to try to like get me in their world, right? They have embodied volume of outreach. And what happens when you actually fully execute the volume of outreach is you start to build what's called a parasocial relationship. Okay, a parasocial relationship is where you feel like you know somebody, but they have no idea who you are. Let me give you an example. Think about your favorite celebrity. Doesn't matter who it is. Think about the first person you just thought about. You feel like, especially if you follow that person religiously, you feel like you know them because you consume their content, you listen to their beliefs about the world, you listen to their opinions, you listen to their strategies, right? So you start to feel like you know them, but they have no idea who you are. That's a one-sided relationship, okay? So what you're doing when you continue to reach out to people, okay, whether that person likes it or not, they're indirectly building a relationship with you. You are forcing the relationship because of your persistence. Now, you might be saying here, well, Jeff, man, like, I own a clinic, bro. Like, I'm not calling these leads so many times. If they want to come in to see me as the doctor, they can make their way in. They can call us back. You can have that mindset if you want. I can tell you right now, though, after doing this for 500 clinics, that mindset typically keeps people in the brokey zone, okay? Not making the income they want, not having the impact they want. The true people that are dominating right now, they're embodying speed to lead. They're obsessive over it, and they're also obsessive over volume of outreach. They are going to force the relationship and force the lead to choose their business before they go somewhere else. So volume of outreach, paramount to success right now online. Now moving into the third element, element number 3 is multi-channel. Okay, so this includes text, email, phone, and then strategically, video. Possibly even social media as well, right? If you can find them on social media, that's a win, right? So what happens now is we're following up with the leads quickly, we're following up with them consistently with volume of outreach, and we're using multi-channel as well, okay? Multi-channel is, when a lead comes in, we'll start with a call, okay? But then we're not gonna stop there. We will text them, we will email them, and then the best people in today's marketplace, independent of industry, they're also doing a thing that we call selfie videos, okay? The selfie video is extremely important here because when somebody expresses interest in becoming a lead, okay, the only relationship they have thus far is with a cell phone. and maybe a video of you online. They don't actually have any true relationship with you though, okay? So what you're doing now is you're using video and elements of visual kind of, what would you call it? Visual relevance in this case, right? To build relationships. Because you want the lead to feel like they're actually ghosting another human being, that they're not just ghosting a bot or just ghosting someone random, right? They need to be hyper aware of who you are, how you can help, your personality, your authenticity. So when you're using multi-channel, including video, it makes it really hard for the leads to ignore you, okay? I'll tell you one thing that we've done constantly inside of our business, not so much for the schedule rates, but for show rates, kind of a digression here, but it'll be relevant. When you have someone booked on your calendar, let's say your appointment is for tomorrow, I'm recording this on a Wednesday, so let's say your appointment is for tomorrow on Thursday and you have somebody booked on your calendar. Let's say you've got John Smith on your calendar, okay? What we have found effective in our own organization is the day before every single appointment, we follow up with all the next day. So on Wednesday today, I would send a selfie video to John, who is scheduled with me tomorrow. And I would say something to the effect of, hey John, it's just Jeff over at Clinic Growth Accelerator, saw you booked in with me for tomorrow at noon. Wanted to reach out and put a face to a name right away. This is my personal number. Feel free to text me any questions you may have in the meantime before our discussion. Otherwise, I'll look forward to speaking with you tomorrow. We will be meeting on Zoom for about 45 minutes, answering any questions you have and seeing if we could possibly help you out. Hope you have a great day, John. Like I said, if you have any questions, text them, call me, whatever you need. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you on Zoom tomorrow, okay? That's what we're doing for video style for show rates, okay? But you can use video to also get your leads who have not scheduled to actually take action to want to get on your calendar. Now, the fourth element of the follow-up game, the schedule game, is value-dense follow-up. Okay, value-dense follow-up could be content. Value-dense content could be questions. It could be case studies. Okay, these are examples of value-dense content. So let me be very clear in saying that most sales organizations, anyone that's a salesperson, if you have somebody on your team, even like an office manager or a front desk who's calling on your leads, they are doing the furthest thing from value-dense follow-up. In fact, most of their follow-up sounds like, hey, this is Jeff from ABC Clinic, and I'm just calling because you expressed interest, wanted to follow up with you, wanted to circle back, right? It's all the same stuff that every salespeople say, okay? So we never want to say the F word. We never want to say follow-up. We never want to say circling back, okay? So here's what we can do. We can send them long-form content about your clinic. So, hey, I might reach out and say, hey, Sally, saw you expressed interest, just had a minute to get back to you again today. Wanted to send you over a quick video that Doc shot. I think it's going to be really impactful and helpful for you in determining if we might be a possible solution for what you're looking for. Here's a link to the video, okay? That would be how you would do long-form content. Case studies, send over your testimonials. Let them know that you have other people you've done this for and that they're in the right place. And we can also do strategic questions. So here's an example. So instead of saying, hey, Jeff, just wanted to follow up with you, just wanted to circle back, I might say something like this. Hey, Sean, just had a few minutes to get back to you today. I know you would express interest in coming into our office for a new patient consultation. Wanted to see, were you able to find a solution to that, or what ended up happening there? Please let me know either way how we can be supportive to you, okay? So what I did is, what did I just do there to break that down? I didn't say follow-up, I didn't say circle back. I said, hey Sean, just had a few minutes to get back to you. That shows that I'm busy. So anytime you go to say follow-up, replace that with just had a few minutes to get back to you. That shows that you're in demand. Then you remind them of the action that they took. You had expressed interest in coming in for a new patient consultation. Were you able to find a solution to that, or what ended up happening there? Please let me know how we can best support you either way. So you're soliciting an answer, let me know either way, and you're also just inquiring about their situation just to make sure that they're taken care of, okay? You'd be stunned at the amount of people with a good question follow-up that are like, oh no, I haven't found a solution. I just got busy. When can I get on the calendar? Okay? So these are all examples of value-dense follow-up, content, case studies, questions, okay? Bake those in because again, if you are just continually boring with your follow-up, you're gonna have a hard time converting and getting people on this calendar because you're following up like every other salesperson does on the planet. Now, one last thing that I'll give you is I also like to use memes, okay? Memes are funny, they're relatable, they can be light, they can create a different emotion, okay? So on occasion, I'll also use memes that make people laugh, that give people value. I'm never gonna use memes in a negative connotation though, in terms of like, oh, you missed the appointment with us, that's bad, you know? Like, I'm not gonna send a meme like that. It's always gonna be positive, and it's always gonna be, ideally, humorous as well to create that value-dense follow-up. Now, when it comes to schedule rates, show rates, conversion rates, even getting enough leads, like, I'm not gonna like sugarcoat it, like, it's a lot of work, right? Like, even executing on all of this, like, I'm sharing like, 15% of what we're able to give our inner circle docs and help them do inside of their actual clinics, right? So if you're finding right now that like your clinic is like, maybe at like a holding pattern and you're just not, maybe you're not getting enough leads, maybe you're getting enough leads but your schedule rate's not great or the quality of the lead isn't good, and possibly you're just looking for a change, I'll leave a link below. There's actually a link there to talk with someone on our team where we can actually assess your situation to determine like, what is the bottleneck in your clinic? Is it a lead problem? Is it a show rate problem? Is it quality? Is it sales? Is it pricing? There's a lot that goes into it. Now, fortunately, we've done this for over 500 clinics. So there's a good chance that on that discussion with us, we can share with you what we feel is the best course of action for you to take next, okay? And by doing so, that gives you clarity on how to grow your business and break through that holding pattern. So I'll leave a link below if you want to check out some of our programs, our Accelerator program, our Master Clinical Marketing program, or maybe you just want to have a conversation so you can get absolute clarity on what you need to do next. Feel free to go down there now because again, a lot of this is truly a lot of work, and sometimes it's nice to just have a different perspective in terms of like, what do I really do to break through my glass ceiling? So I'll leave that link below. Check that out if you want to work with us possibly at a deeper level, or again, just get clarity on your situation. Now, the fifth element, very important, eliminate weak team members. All of this, improving your schedule rates, everything we've talked about so far, speed to lead, volume of outreach, multi-channel, value-dense follow-up, if you got someone weak on your team doing it, you're done. Everything else, you're not going to have value-dense follow-up, you're not going to have any of this, like none of this will occur if the teammate is weak. Now, how do you know you have a weak teammate? Well, they complain about call volume. They're like, why do I have to make so many calls? Weak, immediately gone, not in the role, gone. No tolerance for anything like that. If you have tolerance for someone on your team that tries to control the ship on what needs to be done when you know damn well that you have to be making a lot of calls to get the outcome, and they make 5 calls and they complain, they're done. There's not even a second chance, you're out. It's not the role for you. Maybe there's another fit for you in the business, but we don't have any bad apples in the orchard. Okay, and by the way, that's the mindset that you need to have if you want to have significant revenue, okay? If you're happy at 20 grand a month, 30 grand a month, 40, maybe even 50, then so be it. You can probably have a weak teammate and you're probably gonna sit at that same revenue for the rest of the time. But if you're serious about going to the next level, you can't tolerate any of that shit, okay? So again, what do weak teammates not do? Okay, they don't make volume calls. They don't hit enough call volume. They constantly complain that the leads are bad, even though they're not even making contact with the leads. The leads just aren't answering because they're only calling one time, okay? Now, possibly what they're doing is they're not trained on the phones. And so what happens is when somebody gives them an objection like an insurance concern or a treatment concern, and the teammate is just not trained to handle that, and they kind of just give up and they just blow the call, and then they're like, well, that lead was just a bad lead. It's like, no, dude, anytime your team is constantly saying that the leads are bad and they're making like literally 5 calls a day, that's a red flag, okay? That person needs to be removed from that role, if not from the whole organization entirely based on that work ethic, okay? So a bad teammate who's executing on these activities will be detrimental to your outcome. Now, one last thing I'll say on that is the people who are doing the calls, they gotta have thick skin. This is not something that's like easy to do. I'm not sitting here saying that any of this is easy. That's not the point, okay? I'm saying that these are the best practices required for the best outcome, okay? So you have to have somebody who has thick skin when it comes to doing these activities, which is why all team members who are weak must be eliminated. Now the last element, and we're going to go up here, number 6, is help with due diligence. Now what does this mean, okay? So you guys got to understand that when somebody, let's do a little line graph here. When somebody is looking at your business, okay, and they decide, they're like, okay, I keep seeing your ads, and then at this point, they become a lead, okay? They give you your first name, last name, phone number, and email, okay? At this point, when they become a lead, they are at that point interested in receiving as much information and communication about your business and your offer as they can possibly get. That's called doing due diligence. They want to learn. They want to make sure they're going to make the right decision. So how can we help people with due diligence? Well, we have to first understand, what does due diligence actually mean? What do these people want to know? So the first is, they're going to have first order questions. Okay, so first order questions are, what are the initial set of questions that somebody comes in and likely occurs? If you've serviced a lot of patients, you've probably noticed a pattern in the questions that patients ask you throughout your sales process, okay? You want to write those questions down, okay? Because the sooner you can answer those questions, the higher the probability that person becomes closer to your business and ends up taking action, okay? Then once you have your first order questions, you have what's called a second order question, which is, now that I've given the answers for the first order questions, what are the follow-up questions that then come and then spawn off of the answers from the first order questions, okay? That's called the second layer or second order questions. Then you have objections / concerns, and then you also have expectations. So you might be wondering, like, how can I cover and help with due diligence in a strategic and systematic way? Okay, a couple of things that you can do. Number one, we help our clients build what's called confirmation email sequences, okay? And those email sequences, it's a series of like 7 to 10 emails that go out to the patient before their appointment that are helping them answer questions and warm up to the business in terms of expectations, first order, second order, and also objections as well. So a value-dense email sequence is very important. The other thing that you can do is what's called a confirmation page. So as soon as they book an appointment, then what happens, they go to a confirmation page. On that page, there's a bunch of testimonials, answers the questions that the patients might have in terms of the first and second order questions. That also immediately gives that person information about the offer, about the business, to really let them know if they're in the right place. And if they get value from those questions and answers, the probability that they show up for the appointment is much higher because, again, they're closer to the business. They felt like they've done some due diligence already, which then ultimately shortens the sales cycle for your organization. And so these 6 elements are some of the requirements for online success nowadays. If you want to drive a lot of patients into your office and you want a lot of them to schedule, these are the top things that we're seeing right now in real time that are working amongst our clients and our own businesses, okay? And so the reality is this: we've shared the best practices. Now it's up to you to execute on them, okay? And if you don't, that's okay, because your competitor is going to do so, okay? The competitor will learn this stuff and do it. And whoever does it is going to win at the high level, okay? So the stakes are high for you right now. You've got a choice to make. Are you going to watch this video? And are you going to implement nothing and just leave to go to the next YouTube video because you're just in this constant education rabbit hole and you're not taking action? Or are you going to watch this video, maybe even run through some of these again and re-listen to it, and then go through and execute at an extremely high level, and possibly go and eliminate any weak teammates that aren't willing to do these things, okay? Because these are the requirements. There's a lot at stake. There's more online marketing only getting harder and harder with competition, with saturation, with consumer trust. You know, so at the end of the day, the choice is yours. But I would encourage you to not just watch this video, but take action. Because these are the lessons that we've learned working with clinics that have exceeded substantial revenues for a local business, okay? So we're not pulling this out of a hat. We're sharing with you in hopes that, number one, that you can take these ideas, apply them to your business, and see good growth from them. And then transparently, number two, if you get value from it, and at some point you want us to come in personally and help you on a deeper level, we can help you with that too. And remember, I've left a link below. If you want to have that conversation, there is the links down there. Book a call, no obligation, just to see if we can possibly help you with what you're looking for, or at a minimum, give you clarity on what you need to do next in your situation, okay? So if you're having a hard time with schedule rates, deploy these 6. You're going to see dramatic results. And again, I'll leave a link below if you want to have a deeper conversation. I'll look forward to seeing you in the next one. Until then, cheers.